Most people are out here waiting for a quiet voice, a sign in the clouds, some soft spiritual whisper from the heavens. But let me tell you, the truth, life doesn't whisper, it slaps hard. And when it does, most people are too blind, too weak, or too distracted to realize it's not life being cruel, it's God trying to get your attention. You think everything going wrong in your life is bad luck? No, that's a wake-up call. When your job falls apart, your relationships start crumbling, when you hit rock bottom, that's not the world attacking you. That's God putting his foot down. He's been trying to talk to you for years while you were scrolling, partying, wasting your time and potential, and now he's had enough. So he slaps you, not because he hates you, but because you're finally in a position to listen. Pain is a microphone. Comfort makes you deaf. When everything is going fine, when money's flowing, when people like you, when the world strokes your ego, you don't listen. You think you're the god of your own world. But then the storm hits, you lose everything, you get betrayed, you feel broken. That's when people start crying out, God, where are you? The truth is, he's been there the whole time. You just didn't care until life knocked you flat. So understand this, the slap is mercy. The slap is a signal. When God wants you to rise, he breaks everything that was keeping you small, and it hurts, it confuses you, but that's the only way transformation ever happens. You're not going to grow while sipping coffee in comfort. You grow when the fire gets hot, when you're forced to look at yourself, question your choices, and ask why your world is falling apart. You didn't lose that job by accident. You didn't get dumped for no reason. You didn't land in that dark place randomly. You were blind. God had to shake your whole world to get you to see that you were living under a lie. And here's the part most won't tell you, the slap doesn't just wake you up. It exposes you, it rips off the mask. The version of you that couldn't handle truth gets destroyed, so a version of you that's actually aligned with your purpose can emerge. But most people run from it. They numb the pain, blame others, play victim. They miss the message, they miss the point, so they stay stuck, wondering why bad things keep happening. It's because the lesson hasn't been learned. The signal hasn't been received. You keep ignoring the call, so God has to keep raising the volume, and eventually it's not a slap anymore, it's a knockout. The truth is, when you're chosen, you don't get to live blind. You don't get to waste your life drifting. You're not built for average, so God disciplines you differently. He talks to you through pressure, through setbacks, through chaos. You either learn to read the language of the slap or you suffer in silence, thinking life is unfair while heaven is screaming at you to wake up. You ever get that feeling deep in your core that something's off, that a person isn't right for you, that a decision doesn't sit well, that a direction you're heading in looks good on paper but feels wrong in your soul? That's not just instinct. That's divine intel. That's God communicating with you on a level the world can't decode. People love to romanticize the idea of a booming voice from the sky or some burning bush moment. They wait around for supernatural signs while ignoring the clearest one they already have, their gut. That quiet signal inside you isn't just biology or evolutionary defense mechanisms. That's spiritual technology. You've been wired by design to sense what your mind can't process fast enough. Your gut doesn't lie. Your logic can get manipulated. Your emotions can be hijacked. But your gut, that deep internal compass, stays honest. You meet someone and everything seems right. They say the right things. They look the part. They play the game, but something in you just won't relax. You feel a warning with no proof. You can't explain it, but it's loud. That's not paranoia, that's protection. God doesn't always give you the why. He gives you the don't. He lets your spirit pick up on things before your brain catches up. And when you ignore it, that's when regret walks in. That's when you start saying things like, I knew it. I should have trusted my gut. You knew because you were told. You just didn't listen. That divine intel doesn't show up in chaos. It doesn't come with fear. It arrives as clarity. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's subtle. But when your mind is still and your heart is open, you'll hear it. It's the part of you that resists the shiny thing everyone else is chasing. It's the whisper that tells you to move when logic says stay, or to pause when everything screams go. You've been in moments where something seemed too good to be true, and it was. But before it collapsed, there was a moment where your gut tightened, your chest felt heavy, your peace disappeared. That was your signal. That was God handing you a warning before the fallout. You were never left blind. You just didn't want to accept what your spirit was saying because your ego, your desire, your impatience got louder than your discernment. And this is where most people lose. They train themselves to think more and feel less. They overanalyze, overcomplicate, and override the very system designed to protect them. In a world full of noise, everyone's tuned out of their own signal. They're addicted to validation and logic, looking for answers in algorithms and experts, while ignoring the greatest weapon they have, the gut instinct God gave them from day one. When you're aligned, your gut becomes GPS. It guides you toward purpose and steers you away from destruction. It speaks when things are fake, when danger's near, when a move is right, but only if you're bold enough to trust it, only if you stop asking for proof and start honoring the signal. Because that discomfort you feel around certain people, that unease before you sign the contract, that hesitation before you take the leap, it's not fear, it's insight, it's revelation, it's divine intel being downloaded directly into your system. You ever notice how sometimes life just shuts doors in your face? Opportunities vanish, connections fade, paths you thought were yours suddenly disappear. Most people see that as a dead end. They see it as failure or rejection. But what if I told you those slammed doors aren't punishment or bad luck? What if those slammed doors are God's way of telling you something powerful, that you're not meant to walk through someone else's gate, you're meant to build your own? When a door closes, it's easy to get stuck looking back, banging on it, begging for entry, or wishing it hadn't closed so hard. But every closed door is a reset button disguised as rejection. It's a divine message that says, stop chasing the easy way, stop depending on what others create. You're called for something bigger, because here's the truth: not everyone's path is meant to be your path. Not every opportunity lined up for the masses is your destiny. Some doors are closed because they're meant to protect you from settling for someone else's version of success. The world loves to sell you on the right opportunity, the perfect job, the ideal relationship. But if you rely only on what's handed to you, you'll forever be trapped by other people's limitations. Doors closing push you to stop living a borrowed life. They challenge you to build your own framework, your own foundation. That's where true power lies. It's not in stepping through doors built by someone else's standards. It's in the grind of crafting your own entrance, one that fits your unique vision and purpose. Think about it. When you build your own door, you control who gets in and who doesn't. You decide the rules. You create an environment where your values and dreams aren't compromised. Sure, building takes time, effort, and risk. No one hands you bricks and mortar for free. You have to sweat for it, plan it, sometimes fail and start over. But those who master the art of building don't just get in, they set the terms. They don't depend on permission. They command respect. Doors slamming also cut off distractions and dead ends disguised as opportunities. Sometimes we chase after things just because they're available, because they look good on the outside, or because others expect us to. But those things don't align with your real mission. When those doors close, It's like a spotlight highlighting where you don't belong so you can redirect your energy toward where you're truly meant to thrive. And yes, it hurts. Rejection always does, but it's a necessary pain. It's the stripping away of illusions. It's the burning off of what's not meant for you. It forces you to ask the hard questions. What am I really after? Am I living my truth or someone else's? Am I willing to build what only I can build, no matter how long it takes? That's the mindset shift most miss. Instead of feeling defeated by slammed doors, the strongest step up and see them as a call to action, a challenge to become the creator of their own destiny, not a victim of circumstance. Because the moment you realize the power is in your hands to build your own door, you stop waiting for life's permission. You stop depending on chance encounters or favors. You take control, you own your future, and you stop knocking on doors that were never meant for you in the first place. There's a feeling you can't shake, that constant buzzing inside your chest, the nagging itch under your skin, the sense that you don't quite belong where you are. It's not just boredom or dissatisfaction. It's something deeper, that restlessness you feel, that spiritual static. It's God trying to break through the noise of your daily life, sending you signals that you're out of alignment with your true purpose. Most people treat restlessness like a nuisance. They try to numb it with distractions, addictions, endless scrolling, or busy work. They tell themselves, it's just a phase, or I'm tired, I need to relax. But the truth is that restlessness is not a bug, it's a feature. It's your spirit screaming at you to wake up, to stop settling, to stop living a life designed by fear or comfort and start living the life you were created for. Think of restlessness like static on a radio. When the signal is clear, you hear the message loud and clear. But when the static takes over, the message gets buried under noise. That static, that unrest, is your spirit trying to break through the clutter of your habits, your doubts, your distractions. It's God interrupting your comfort zone, telling you there's more. There's a bigger mission waiting for you, but you can't hear it while you're distracted by the noise. That feeling of being stuck, of pacing at night, of waking up with a weight on your chest, it's not just stress. It's spiritual discomfort, and it's there to move you. When your soul is restless, it's a sign you're out of sync with what you're truly meant to do. It means you're settling for a version of life that's safe but soulless. You're living for the weekend, for the approval of others, for temporary highs instead of purpose. Most people run from this discomfort because it demands action, demands change, demands courage. It's easier to stay numb. But every moment you ignore that restlessness, you silence the signal. You dim the voice of your higher calling, and the static grows louder. Eventually, it's impossible to ignore. Restlessness is also a form of mercy. It's God's way of refusing to let you stay stuck in a cage of your own making. It pushes you toward growth, toward risk, toward the unknown, even if your mind screams for comfort and familiarity. That itch in your soul is the pull towards something greater, something more fulfilling, something that will challenge and elevate you. When you learn to listen to that spiritual static instead of drowning it out, you start making decisions that align with your purpose. You stop chasing empty dreams and start chasing meaning. You stop doing what's easy and start doing what's necessary. You stop living small and start claiming the life you were born to live. The restless energy inside you isn't an enemy. It's a compass, it's a spark waiting to ignite a fire, but you have to be willing to hear it, to face it, to act on it, because spiritual static doesn't stop until you either listen or you break. It hurts when people leave. Whether it's a friend, a partner, a mentor, or someone you once considered family, their exit can feel like a sudden loss, a betrayal, or a failure on your part. But here's a truth most don't want to face. People leave your life for a reason. Not randomly, not because you're unlucky, but because their presence no longer serves the path you're meant to walk. We tend to get attached to relationships, clinging to people even